All right, guys. I got Chris here from Texas Woodcraft. Chris, how you doing today?
Doing all right. It's a little chilly, a little chilly in Texas, but other than that, it's going pretty good.
It's going to be 90 for us over here, so I don't know. Where are you in Texas?
In Fort Worth, I
Oh,
got the
okay, yeah.
wind blowing, so I think that's one of the reasons why it's a little chilly. Got a pretty nice breeze going on outside.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm outside of San Antonio, and it's already hot. I already sweat myself. Man, I run in the morning, and the last couple weeks it's been cool, so I
Yeah,
barely break a sweat. But today, man, I had to go to the grocery store and get me some breakfast, and I was
right.
just soaked. I was completely soaked. 3 miles killed me.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I'm not excited for that to happen here at all. It's gonna get hot though. This
Yeah, it's
summer's gonna
coming.
come.
It's coming. And we were in Six Flags yesterday. So
Hmm.
I was just thinking while I'm sitting there, I'm like, these kids are already struggling. It's like 75, 80 degrees. I'm like, do you guys have any clue what 110 in San Antonio feels like?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's it's not bad. Last year with that heat wave that we had, it was real bad.
brutal. Yeah, and 105. I don't care if you were in the water for an hour. You get out in 5 minutes, you're dry.
Yeah, 100 is dry and then sweating, dripping water from just the humidity and everything else. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I didn't. I guess I anticipated that. I came from New England, so I knew
right,
it was going to be hot, but I didn't know it was going to be. I acclimated well to the air conditioning. I can say that for sure.
right.
All right, so Chris, let's get into the stuff you do, man. So looking at your Instagram, you do all kinds of things. I was going to ask you just about the woodworking, but you got other stuff. You work on planes. You're definitely in
Right.
hangars
Yep.
every once in a while. Why don't you explain to everybody what that's all about?
So my actual career, my job is aerospace painter, and before that, I was doing locomotive painting. So altogether, I have roughly, with painting and powder coating experience, roughly 14 years of industrial painting and powder coating. So that's my job. And then my hobbies, just like you said, with woodworking. I'm now getting into Lego, so that's an expensive hobby that I'm getting into. But yeah, I've been doing aerospace painting for coming up to 8 months now, and it's the same but a different ball game from locomotive painting. So it's a handful for sure. It's a new technique getting used to.
How do you land on something like that?
Mostly due to my experience, my previous job, like I said, with locomotive painting, and just I guess that's how it was. I quit my old job because I was at a point where I was at the top and there was no progression, and so I figured to kind of improve my career and see where something else would take me. I went ahead and went to Indeed and just looked for different painting jobs because I love painting. I'm a good painter. So that's my trade 100%. So I figured, what can I do to further my craft, but also try to look for something that has a better career opportunity. And with aerospace, I mean, there's Boeing, there's Lockheed, there's so many other different companies that paint airlines and aerospace. So I figured, why not try it with this place? And so far, it's been a hell of a journey in just this 8 months. I've learned a lot and I've progressed even further. So that's where I'm at so far.
Oh, that's super cool. And I'll be honest with you, it's not like the air industry is going anywhere. If
No,
anything, it
not
seems
at
like
all.
it's exponentially growing faster than I would expect, even with a shaky economy. They're still
Yep,
shooting rockets out there all the time.
yep.
So,
And
and the
and
airplanes ain't going anywhere.
no, people got to fly places. So I figure that this is a good spot for me.
Yeah. So is it difficult? Because I owned a boat for a short period of time, and the paint on boats were it's a disaster. The paint on those things are ridiculous, expensive,
Right.
really hard. So is aerospace paint, is that in a spectrum of that kind of scenario or?
Right now, we're currently all the planes that we have coming in. They're roughly 20, 25 years old, and so we're stripping them completely down and putting a fresh coat on them. And so, with boating and everything, you got the salt water and the ocean life and everything else to contend with. With aerospace, we just pretty much have the air. to deal with. And as long as the paint lands good and sticks good, it's not really going to have any problem. But again, with it being an airline, airlines have turbulence, and they, they land, they take off, all that thrust, all that speed. The paint's eventually going to break down. But right now, what we're doing, like I said, we're taking planes that are 20, 25 years old, stripping them down. Some of the paint's good, but also some of the paint's pretty bad, just again from wear and tear on an airline. But I would say the plane or the paint has roughly a good 15, 20-year lifespan until it starts to kind of chip off and break down. And so yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that 15, 20 years. That's the life of a roof in some cases.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and no one paints their house for 15, 20 years and just leaves it. So that's pretty good paint.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think we're using Sherman-Williams, maybe PPG. I'm not necessarily sure. I just load up the pot and I start spraying.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, the Texas Woodcraft. How'd you get started on that? I'm not gonna lie to you. The first video I watched after finding you on TikTok was the yoga mats. And I got to chuckle a couple times on the fact that you just kept chucking the yoga mats at it and screaming yoga mats.
Yeah, I wanted with that video. My videos had not done, I guess, very well for I want to say a week or something. So I tend to not really put so much comedy into my videos because Texas Woodcraft. I like making things. I like showing how to make things and. They got to a point where I was like, you know what, let me just spice things up a little bit. I've seen a couple creators make some videos that are pretty funny while doing woodworking. So I was like, let me just do some editing and try to make this a funny video. And the video worked well, it clearly got your attention. But I figure, why not just do something kind of repetitive, but also not to where it's going to be like, oh, he's going to make a video and say yoga mat once. No, I wanted to kind of, have it be funny, repetitive to an extent. So.
Oh, absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to lie to you. I was thinking, how many times have I used a blanket, like an old blanket or something? Because you don't want to scratch the other side while you're sanding one side. It doesn't make any sense at all. And and everybody's been there at least once. But for you to say yoga mat and throw it and say it again and throw it. And, I'll never forget the yoga mat. I'll never forget.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that use a lot of different things to cover their floor while they're working on one large piece, like you said, towels. Somebody else, I've seen somebody else use like a decent sized rug. But I figure that a yoga mat. I can't remember who I saw because I got that idea using a yoga mat from somebody else. I can't remember. But just the fact that it's fairly cheap, I can roll it up and get it out of the way, and it's cushioned. So that way, if there is anything that's on my floor that I didn't see, like possibly a nail or a screw or something on the floor, putting that yoga mat down is going to absorb that, and it's not going to even affect any piece that I'm working on.
Yeah, there's nothing underneath it. It'll be catastrophic at that point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very cool. And I'll be honest with you, I love the fact that we find so many like inspirations from other people. I mean, it doesn't take much. I watch guys all day do wild stuff, and I'm like, man, that's a great idea. How many things did we lost in the past? Your grandfather knew, or your great grandfather knew. It's just gone. It's just gone. It'll never got written down. It never got passed down, or whoever saw it.
Thanks to social media, now we have all these other things that are ingrained and are never going away because it's the internet. So you learn a lot of stuff from a whole bunch of different creators on all these different platforms. And then as long as you're okay with, hey, I can learn something new from somebody else I never would have thought of, let me try using that. And, a lot of times, 8 out of 10 times, it's a good idea. And you now learn a new trick.
Oh, yeah, are you kidding me? Not only that, but just using YouTube to do so, like before I mess with my car, if I ain't never done it before, man, there's a lot more bravery involved in being able to see you do it first before I actually jump in there. Yeah. Because it's a daunting task that you don't know how it's going to play out because you've never done it before. Yeah. Breaks down real quick when you watch another person do it real quick. And you don't always have a buddy sitting there drinking a beer helping you.
Yeah, especially if they're real in depth and showing how to do something, and especially if they know that what they're about to do could be very confusing, and they take extra care into doing even more tutorial steps. That's the way to go. And I think if
Yeah.
you are going to be a creator that is showing people how to do things, I think that's a really good way to go about it. Uh, just giving as much information as possible, because I'm a hands-on guy. I'm not a books guy. I'm street smart, not book smart. So seeing something hands-on instead of just telling me how to do something, that's how I progress way more than just hearing it. So
Yes, like you said too, when you watch the video, the guy will go into detail and be like, I did this wrong last time. If you don't take this bolt off first, you're going to
yeah,
have this problem later.
yeah,
Trust me, avoid the whole issue. Don't do what I did and do it this step. And it's like, wow, thank you so much,
yeah,
man. And even
yeah,
if you do come to another snag or something with your air conditioner, because that's happened to me with my air conditioner too. You hit a snag, you go back, you start scrolling through, you watch like 5 more videos, and that one guy had the same exact nuance of a problem.
right.
And I don't want to pay someone $300. I'm 3/4 of the way done. There's no way another dude's coming here and I'm paying him. There's no way.
Right, right. Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. So on that note, what is the most creative thing that you've been able to express to somebody that you learned that you think you passed on besides the yoga mats? What's another thing like
I was
that?
about to literally say yoga mat. Um, Realistically, I would have to say that you don't need to spend an arm and a leg on a tool brand. All these other tool brands do just fine, especially if you're a weekend warrior, a DIY guy, at home guy or girl. That you don't necessarily need to go out and buy Milwaukee or Craftsman or anything like that to go ahead and do a job that you can do. And like you said, you've seen my videos. I was at one point in time an ambassador for Heart Tools, and I still use their tools. Use their tools before I became a partner and then an ambassador. And I've built practically all the things that I've done with the majority of Heart Tools, because they're at Walmart, and I grocery shop there all the time. And so you don't need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on tools to go ahead and do the project that you're planning on doing in general. And that's where I've gotten so much crap from a lot of keyboard warriors and people with no content on their page. They're just those internet trolls. But there's a lot of times that I'll just make reply videos and reply content, making them look like a silly goose, showing that I can do just crap tons of things without spending the kind of money that they've been brainwashed into thinking you need to spend. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've passed down with all the things that I've made and posted, all the tutorials, all the how-to videos. And yeah, so I'd say just don't spend thousands of dollars if you don't need to.
Oh yeah, Chris, and those trolls are your best friend, man. You harass them enough and you get some interaction, that brings a
Yep.
lot of traction sometimes, man.
Yep.
And it's
I've
not like
gotten
your content isn't going to speak for itself anyways.
right. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not an issue. It's more just trying to get that traction.
Yeah, because even if there's a period of time when you don't really have any type of, creative content ideas, you can still go back through your comments and find somebody that's trying to be, troll to you, and then make a sarcastic video, and boom, there's extra content that you have made without really having to make anything. So I found that was actually pretty nice and an easy break as well.
Another thing too with the tools and stuff, the less
Hmm.
money you have, historically this has been a fact. The less money you have as an artist, the less money you have as a creator, the less money you have in general when you're trying to do something, it forces the creativity to make up the difference. And you actually get
100.
in most cases, you get a better product from less money. Because if you see these corporations jump in and get on the bandwagon on a good idea, they normally kill it with their money. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't know what that is, but it seems like money does not solve everything, and it definitely impedes creativity. Being without something actually forces you to grow a little bit more in that aspect.
Yeah, because if there's a certain tool that you can't afford, but you have a couple other tools that can do that exact same process that you're planning on do it, sure, it might take a little bit longer,
But now you're
but
still coping. You're still coping without that little. Yeah. It's actually more
exactly.
creative, and you don't know. You may invent a new way to do that faster in the
Yeah,
process.
100%.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can, you know, more or less, you are probably going to have a chance of messing up or making a mistake doing it that way the first time. But that's a growing experience, a learning experience that, hey, you messed up that first time. Well, go get another piece of wood and try to figure out how you made that mistake and try your best to avoid it. And again, 8 times out of 10, that's more or less how to go about it, until you do have the money. And if you find out that needing that tool will save you, you know, build up your money, build up your projects to where you can eventually afford that tool, not as a necessity, but now that you've learned how to do it that way, having that extra tool, now that's just making it faster. So you don't need the tools to do that thing first. Just like you said, you can go ahead and, or yeah, you can use the other tools, learn that new technique, and if you still need it, go ahead and get it down the road. But now you've learned how to do it without it.
Yeah, and I've seen guys make their own like what do you call it? They'll set up a whole thing just so they can get a board in the right spot. And
Like a jig?
yeah, they make all these crazy
Yeah.
wild jigs, and they're setting
Yep.
everything up just. And I can tell, you can tell, this guy's far more relying on his mind than he is the money, because
Yeah.
you're like, I know there's an easier way to do this, and then you're watching
Right.
him, and you're like, okay, I see where he's coming from, and
Yep.
I'll be honest with you, I like seeing the process of getting down to that element of I'm gonna make this work either way, and I
Yeah.
really don't care if I got two pieces of wood instead of this little piece of metal I could buy at Home Depot.
Yep. I've
I
seen very many creators where instead of buying a router table, they'll take their router that they have, two clamps and a piece of wood. They'll make their own router table, their own router jig with just a
I was
piece
going to
of
say
scrap
just a
wood and
little
some
jig, a
clamps.
small jig where they have to just keep tracing. And I'll be honest
Yep.
with you, that was a far smarter. I think it was a better machine in that sense.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, I saw a new thing where this got industrialized. So this wasn't just someone's jig. It was a small platform on wheels where they put the skill
Uh-huh.
saw on it, and instead of having that flat track that you just put on your plywood, it was literally a smaller one, only about 10 inches, 12 inches wide. That
Right.
even had like a little like jig built into it that you could put a slide in, and it would roll right over the plywood, man.
Right.
It was actually a pretty ingenious idea. I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can talk to that guy again. But he definitely invented it himself. He's definitely trying to mass produce it, and it's just
Right.
one of those things where I think that's the full extent of coming up with your own idea and trying to run with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's even I saw this female creator where she, I guess her husband or she found an old an old barbecue thing, and instead of buying a brand new table saw, or sorry, miter saw station, she took off the top portion, the lid. She took that off, added some sides. That what did she do? She had some retractable, folding hinges that were weight rated, and she put some wood on top of that, and she put her miter saw on top, and she made a platform, and now she has a rolling miter saw station out of an old barbecue that her husband had or that she found. And it's the creativity and the ingenuity that people are doing and posting on social media, makes it easier for somebody going back full circle that doesn't have a lot of money to go out and buy a $500 miter station. Just doing something like that.
Well, even if you do have $500, do you really want to buy a $500 miter station for two projects in your life? Like you said, if you're a
Right.
weekend warrior and you're going to do two projects with that tool for the rest of
Yeah,
your life,
100%.
do you really want to drop $500 on it? Because you'll never get your money back. You'll never get
Not
your
at
money
all.
back. You
Not
take
at
that
all.
and put it in a yard sale, you're looking at $200.
Yep.
And then you're haggling someone's haggling you for, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
frustrating. I'll just keep it.
Yep.
I'll just keep it. Eat the 500
Yep.
bucks. I'll make up a new project some other week just to
Yeah.
justify the $500.
Yep.
All right. So on that note, Chris, how'd you get started? What caused you to say, I'm going to start putting stuff on TikTok and Instagram?
I previously had the TikTok that I have right now, the Texas Woodcraft TikTok that I have right now. I started back in January or February. I can't remember when my first video was of 2021, I believe. 2022, 2022. Yeah, February 2022. And I started that because going back to the whole heart partnership and ambassador. Uh, before I did all that, I posted crap loads of my build videos and just tool reviews on Heart Tools Facebook group. And then a little later down the road, they contacted me. They were like, "Hey, we like your stuff. Would you like to be a partner?" And I was kind of cautious about it because I didn't just have Heart Tools. I had some Ryobi and I had some Craftsman stuff. And they were like, "Hey, you're not going to have to be 100% loyal to us and only use our tools because we know we don't have every single tool that other brands have," which was a nice little incentive and a nice little relief to me. And so I was like, "Yeah, sure, let me do this." And my personal TikTok page that I had, I had some, I guess, off-brand worthy kind of content. I had some political stuff on there, and I had some stupid stuff on there that I didn't really want to officiate with a brand itself, because if I'm going to be a partner with a brand, I want them to look as good as possible with the stuff that I can put out. So I made a brand new TikTok, start from scratch, and I put it focusedly around the Heart Tools brand. And the videos didn't start off very well, just like everybody else that makes a fresh account, a couple hundred views here, a couple hundred views there. And then I started growing and growing, and with that came a lot of, like I said, all the trolls and the haters, keyboard warriors saying, "Oh, Heart Tools, da, da, da." And I just kept on posting stuff, and I got more followers and a bigger fan base and stuff like that due to the fact that I was humbly making stuff, telling people you don't need to spend thousands of dollars to do this exact same project. And I want to say maybe a couple months after that, I made the Instagram, which, as you can see, my Instagram to TikTok follower is completely way marginalized, and there's a huge difference. Mostly just because of the fact that I got Instagram just as a side pet, right? Just as, let me post some stuff here and there, but I wanted to go through the gates swinging with TikTok, and it's been good so far. My main thing was, with the job that I have now, I don't really have that much time for social media because I work 6 days a week, 65 hours a week. And so that kind of is a setback. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of how TikTok for me started, and a little bit of Instagram. So yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep on posting because the little stuff, the little nuances of what you do every day that you don't think is important is the stuff
Yep.
that everybody's like, "Wow, I had no idea that people that paint planes have to do this every day or something." So what
Yeah.
you think is nothing could be the big thing. So just taking 5 minutes, record something, let it sit on the shelf for the day, or even if the week is 65 hours, you want to get
Yeah.
home, you want to relax, you want to unwind, you want
Yep.
to decompress with the wife or alone or with the kids or whatever it is. And whether you want to or not, then they want all the other stuff. So it just escalates as the day goes on. And who wants
Yeah.
to be posting stuff at 10 o'clock at night when they're tired?
Exactly. And so I got my phone that I have. I got the 1 terabyte storage, and
There you go.
so I've
And
I've
you can
muted
just put
that.
everything on the shelf for a week, and then on
Yep.
that Thursday or Friday where you don't have anything that day, or Saturday morning, you can just knock
Yep.
it all out. Yeah, yeah, that's smart, man. I like that. That's
Yeah.
probably your best bet, to be honest with you.
Yep. And then the fact that I saw the TikTok year in review type thing, and it showed that I had like 1,600 TikTok videos that I've posted.
Wow.
And so one of the other things that I'm doing is, if I don't have time to make something new, I'll go back through my catalog and go ahead and post something from months ago, because that's the thing that people might not understand. I saw this video that says you don't need to make content every single day. If you have a catalog of videos, go back and you really just need, say, 3 months, 3 months of content. And go back to your previous stuff from months ago, post something new, because the amount of followers that you have at this moment in time that you've just gathered might not have seen the stuff you posted 6, 7, 8 months ago. So you can go back and recycle content and post it up for those new followers that you have to go ahead and see, because more or less you're not going to go back and watch somebody's content, everything that they posted from a year
No,
ago,
no, no,
from
no one
five
has
months
time.
ago.
Yeah. You're going back
And
5 videos, and either those 5 videos are outstanding or they're not, or whatever.
yeah, and that's the thing, the TV show Friends, they have reruns. The TV show I Love Lucy still has reruns, and it's just an easier way for you to post out reoccurring or, a recycled video that now all the people that you have can see, because you're now just posting it again from months ago.
And you could tweak the message a little bit too, because the same video doesn't have to say
Yep.
the exact same thing.
Yep. Yeah, I have this website saved on my phone. It's called CapCut, and a lot of people, I'm sure, have seen it. That's my source of editing all my videos. And then I can't remember the link of it, but there's a website that you can take. It's specifically for TikTok. You can go to your TikTok videos, uh, copy the link, post the link into this website, and then it takes off the watermark that, from this corner to that corner. It completely removes the watermark from your TikTok video, and then you can post it onto Instagram or Facebook or
Yes,
whatever.
without putting all the extra effort into starting from scratch again. Because if you keep the watermark, from what I've heard, it destroys the algorithm on
Yep.
Instagram or
Yeah, a
Facebook.
bunch of other social media sites, I guess, don't like other social media sites watermarks and stuff on there, which is understandable. It's still annoying, but it's understandable. So doing that, I found, has gained a couple extra, a handful of extra followers, because again, they haven't seen that content, and I can just re-edit that video to a new voiceover or a new song that's current and trending.
That's smart. I'll be honest with you. The guy I had on, like 2 weeks ago, has like 2 million people on TikTok, and he said the same thing. He couldn't get any traction on Instagram until he got rid of that watermark. That
Right.
watermark made a huge difference.
Yeah, 100% does.
I wouldn't even have. I had no idea. I had no idea. But it makes sense. Why would Facebook and Instagram want to promote someone else's? Yeah, they don't want
Yep.
that. They don't want that at all.
Not
So it
at
makes
all.
sense.
So, yep.
All right, Chris. How do you see it going right now? What do you think you got for the next couple months?
Well, like I said, this job's kind of slowed me down a little bit, but I'm still doing things here and there. One of the things that I guess kind of came out of nowhere is my stovetop shelf cover, or my noodle board, and my spice shelf. So I've for a business perspective, I've made more of those and sold more of those than anything else for the most part. And that just came out randomly one time because I made myself one, me and my wife, and I posted that in the how-to video and everything, the literal step-by-step of how to do it. You can make it with just 3 or 4 tools, and I really pushed that, and that kind of blew up, and I've gotten hundreds of thousands of views on those, a couple million views, and I kind of see myself going toward that route, not necessarily slowing down off of review videos or anything like that, but I want to kind of take it to where I can now start making money off of video projects, not just from the ad revenue or anything that I get from TikTok, because that whole thing is kind of ridiculous in itself, because I'll have days where I make 13 cents for that day, and other days, if I have a really blown up video, I'll make like $13, which is, TikTok isn't the place to be if you're wanting to make money. not with my view count anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I would
Unfortunately,
love,
you got to scale up a lot, and then it becomes a little
yeah,
bit more doable. But even then, I'll be honest with you. I think the big money's in YouTube, especially in the future. Things seem a
yeah,
little shaky on TikTok.
yep. With
Who
everything
knows?
going on right now.
Yeah, who knows how that's going to play out? I don't know if you know, they've got other apps out there that are trying to push to fill that gap. I think Lemon 8 is one of them and stuff. There's a bunch of new
I got
apps out
a
there.
I got an email this morning because I have my contact email up on my profile just in case brands or anybody else wants to send me, any type of thing. And I've gotten this email this morning from another, not a competitor of TikTok, but just another social media sharing platform like TikTok. And they were going to offer $50 to go ahead and make just a one-time video. And I went ahead and declined it due to the fact that if I'm going to be making a video that is a competitor or a different, platform than TikTok, trying to get people to go check out that other platform, I'm thinking in my head, if TikTok sees that, they're going to really just kill my algorithm and really just kill everything about it.
And
So
why would they? Why would they, right? It would be foolish not to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's things like that that I look at, and I've done a lot of partnerships with a lot of different brands, and I possibly see myself going that route as well. Circling back to your question, um, the whole branding thing has definitely been a nice incentive, money wise, and also just targeting other art audiences that I might not have ever seen yet or have ever seen me. So I think that if I can go ahead and continue with the brand marketing aspect of it, there's a couple upsides to it. One, getting free products. Two, sometimes getting paid for those videos that I make. And three, again, the biggest aspect of it is engaging with new people that might not just be into woodworking or might not be into woodworking at all. But I'm posting stuff about my partnership that I had with cat stuff, a cat brush and a cat fountain. There's a lot of people that love cats on TikTok, obviously, and so gauging from all those followers that I gained as well, just from doing brand deals, that's a big incentive to when you first start out on social media and not knowing what your real goal is and not having no clue that you're going to eventually have companies coming to you saying, hey, we love your content, we love your page, we think you would be a good fit for our brand. Again, I think that would be a good way to go about it because it's technically free content that I'm getting free materials on to make that content, and getting a little side cash isn't a bad way
Yeah.
to go about it either. You know.
And you never know where it goes. You have no idea. The company blows up.
Yep.
You could be on the tail end of that wave.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, so, what do you think has been your biggest mistake since you started on the social media side?
Uh, uh, honestly, that's a good question. At first, I kind of let it get to me with everybody, hating on my tools and everything like that. Like it got to me a little bit. Like at first, I never once made a video in a negative light, bashing or replying to trolls. But before I started making those sarcastic "ha gotcha" videos, it kind of was like, do I even still want to do this? And I think a lot of people get to that point when they're first starting out, like, oh, why am I getting so much hate on my videos when I'm literally doing nothing except trying to make content? I'm pretty sure every content creator or everybody starting out and gets a little spark and a big amount of following, depending on what it is, 500 followers, 1,000 followers, all the way up to whatever. I'm not there, but like 300 million followers, they all get those trolls. And I think like I said, my biggest thing was when I first started out and I first started getting my batch of negative people trying to bring me down. I let it get to me a little bit. And if I
Well, it
just
feels like
would
they're
have,
outside your door. It feels like
yeah,
you've done something wrong, and
yeah. And
they're going to be pitchforks and torches outside your door.
yeah, and if I would have just been in the headspace as to where I am now and where I eventually got, I would have been so much better off. Um, But I think that was the biggest thing so far. My biggest thing that got to me, that with this whole thing, you know.
Trolls and stuff. So what was the
Yeah.
biggest thing that you were able to do to overcome that when that started coming? Because like you said, you get to so many followers, it's inevitable that it starts happening. Then you get to so many more, and I think it's time to get out of Dodge. You just stop listening to all the information. There's no way you can take that much criticism all the time.
I think my biggest thing was I got to a point where I was dishing out really really good, humiliating reply content where it seemed like TikTok for the most part, those the viewers were getting on my side. So being able to come up with witty slash quick responses that are actually pretty good, posting those instead of just making comments replying back to that person, making a video to where everybody, because again it's free content. If you reply to somebody trying to trash you, it's a free video that takes no time, no effort, no tools, no nothing. So making really really good witty responses that the entire TikTok community can see, where somebody will try to bash me in a comment, then I make a recording of that, or then I make a reply video to that comment to where I'm not just typing it. People see what I'm saying, people hear what I'm saying, and a lot of times it's pretty good. And it gets the community on your side. And I don't remember the last time that I actually had a troll video at all, because it feels like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, just from what I've seen, um, a lot of people now don't want to try to post negativity on my page, because those trolls, once I hit them with one reply video, I don't know if they go through my catalog and see the other ones that I've posted, but they typically don't come back. And when they do, I just make another one. And usually,
And again, they're
the
doing you a
second,
favor. They're doing you a favor,
yeah,
technically, yeah.
yeah, yeah. The second video that I make, I completely shut them down. I guess they're like, oh, I'm not gonna get this guy good, so let me just stop and move on to the next person. And then also doing that makes other people that might be getting trolls on their comments. It shows them that, oh, you mean I can just make a reply video to this person being stupid instead of getting all pissed off and mad? Let me try that. So I've seen, ever since started doing that, I've seen more of my woodworking creator friends posting stuff like that, and it's awesome because you don't have to be afraid of people trashing your videos when you can just trash them back with a video politely, in a sense, to where, don't go on a ranting rage, cussing and doing all this other stuff,
Oh,
because
yeah.
TikTok won't like that. Other platforms as well. So I got a laundry list in my head of words that I can use instead of different words that I want to use, and that's kind of worked out. So,
That actually sounds like fun, to be honest with you. Because just
oh
typing back and forth and arguing with someone with a text message, that sounds exhausting in and of itself. But making that
yeah,
video and getting a giggle out of it, because as soon as you hit that button, you're like, haha, that's funny,
exactly.
is probably far more pleasing. And you can move on and
Yep.
go back to work tomorrow. And I'll be
Yep.
honest with you, anybody that's trolling you that hard, because I understand, okay, you put your stringer on this and you don't have the hanger for that, you did that
Yeah.
wrong on the deck, and they're micromanaging every little thing. I understand someone getting hung up on it. That I do understand
Right.
occasionally. But to really be a troll is, what the hell what are you doing with your time? Are you that bored? Are you that bored? Because I don't get it.
Yeah, and when I don't have time to make a video, because sometimes I do want to think of something really good to say in that video. When I don't have the time, and somebody just comments on one of the videos saying, "Oh, you did this wrong," and that's gonna break, I comment with just a three-letter word. I say, "Huh?" I just comment that right back to them, and then they'll go ahead and reply again, saying, "What do you mean, huh? Can you not read?" And then I'll just say, "Huh?" Because what I've also learned is that if they are continuously commenting on that one video, the algorithm will pick up saying, "Oh, this video is getting comments. Let's put that video up there just a little bit to see what happens." And the whole time, it's again just a three-letter word, and they get so angry that they reply with another comment and another comment, and then eventually, if it goes, I think I had one troll post like 6 or 7 comments on one of my videos, and I just kept replying with huh, huh. And then I had some other people coming into the
Yes.
comments, posting even more comments, not to me, but kind of shutting that person down. As then again, it comes back to, the TikTok and social media will eventually have your side if they really see somebody trying to be a douche and bring somebody down.
I've had it happen to me before too. On Facebook, I did something or I said something, and someone made a stupid comment, and someone came to my defense, and the two of them went back and forth with these. Look like the Constitution. I mean, I don't know why you would spend that much time writing, because it's not like Twitter where there's only so many characters. Facebook,
Right.
you could just write this novel, and then the other
Yep.
guy writes a novel, and the other one, and then all of a sudden, like 3 or 4, it was like 160, or I don't remember exactly how many comments, but I said one thing, never replied to anything, and it turned out to be like 160 comments on that one comment. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
how? How does that happen?
That's so cool.
But yeah, and I know that picks up more people seeing it. I know for a fact it does, because at the end,
Yep.
other people were starting to make comments like, "You guys are writing a novel here for no reason."
Yep. So it's a way of how can I get even more engagement without putting any type of real stress or involvement in it at all.
And you can't
So
take it personal. You really can't. I know it
no.
feels personal at first, but
Yep.
again, you got to take into context. We're used to doing this in person. We're used
Yeah.
to saying, "I don't like you" in person.
Yep.
And our minds are still wired that way when you have hundreds of millions of people, billions of people with phones.
Yeah, you got user 122-596 with no profile picture, no content on their page saying, "Oh, your tools are stupid."
And you're
Huh?
assuming it's not a bot. You're assuming it's not a bot. Because I don't think
Yep.
people realize this. When they found out on Twitter that like 8% or 10% were bots,
Hmm.
I think it's more than that. And it's across all the platforms.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think TikTok has 150 million people because that's practically half of the United States, you know? And you're thinking, you got kids that are 10 years old. Sure, some of them are on TikTok, but not
But they
everybody,
can't
not
make
every
accounts. They
10-year-old
can't make an
kid.
account. Do you know
Yeah,
how a 10 year
and
old,
it's
yeah.
not like 80-year-olds are on TikTok. So I don't really think it's 150 million people. They might have that on a user base spreadsheet, but again, like you said, I'm assuming that however many percent, yeah, bots generated people just to show that TikTok has a crap load of people. Same with Instagram. Same with whatever. So you know,
And with the new AI stuff that's coming out with the Chat GBT and all these other things, I think
yeah,
a lot of the bots are gonna be the content creators,
yeah,
because they can just
yeah,
regurgitate everything we've already done. They can't create
yep.
new stuff, but they can recycle it.
Yeah, and the thing that kind of irritates me about that is like I said before, the website that I use to take my watermarks off of my videos and repost them, and also doing I when I repost stuff, I also do that for my TikTok videos as well because I notice a lot of people, they'll just save their video that they made themselves and then repost it on TikTok. Well, yeah, you reposted your old content, but you now have your own watermark going back and forth, back and forth. So uh, I don't just use that website for Instagram. I also use that for TikTok. So it makes it look like, I posted that video brand new, but really it's not. But that's the other thing leading back into that, all these bots and stuff like that. I feel like they also have that ability to go into your videos, do the exact same thing that I do for mine. Cause I've seen, there's a creator, Foxhound something. I can't remember. I'm probably butchering that name, but she's right now she's got like 800 and something thousand followers, and all she does on her content, it's kind of like an ASMR type thing, but she does you've probably seen it, staining videos where she takes a piece of wood and it'll either have, like right now she's big on Homer Simpson and Stitch and Donald Duck and everybody else, but she'll take her piece of wood, she doesn't have her face, she has no talking, which those are very good things to do if you want to grow because it doesn't mess with the algorithm because it doesn't show any type of vocals or opinions or anything like that. So we can get into that in a second. But what she does is she takes a piece of wood, she has her camera angled on it, she'll stain her wood with a brush, so it shows your hands of the brush and the stain, and then she'll wipe it off. And that's it. That's her content, which is, it's relaxing, it's soothing, and
That's so weird. No, I
realistically,
have not seen that yet, man. That is weird.
it's amazing. And she's also a Texas-based content creator as well. I think she's in Waxahachie or something. I don't know. But people I've noticed on the For You page every once in a while that somebody will take her video, remove the watermark, and post it on their page, not giving her any credit whatsoever. And they start getting thousands of views because her views rack up in the millions. Because again, it's the algorithm. They really like the videos that have no sound and sound by vocals. The music's okay, but you're not talking, you're not sharing any type of opinions, you're just doing something. And I've noticed the algorithm really likes that. I've done that on my videos, on a handful of my videos, and it's done pretty well. But just thinking that somebody, either an AI or a collective, a company that's out there doing this, can go ahead and get tons of views from content they didn't even create. That's kind of scary, thinking that you post that video a while ago, okay, and then some other company refurbishes that video, and those people go to that and see that video first, and then they find yours. They might think that you are taking their content when realistically it's the other way around. So that kind of scares me with what the future could bring with the whole AI type thing.
Well, they're saying there's less and less content creators.
Right.
Authentic, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of hard to be authentic in and of itself because
Yeah.
there's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're all mimicking each other to the point where it won't be much different than machines doing it for us, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
100%.
getting. Yeah, it's getting. I don't know how this is gonna play out because you can't do nothing lasts forever, right? We all agree that nothing lasts. So how does this play out? What's the new fad? How can we get to like a half of a second viral video? I mean, how bad can our attentions get? How crazy? I mean, where does it go? I mean, it's perpetually getting worse. How does it go?
I think if we're going towards that half a second viral video, I don't think you can go wrong with a fart video, because that.
Hey, hold on? Isn't that exactly how it played out on what was that movie? What was that movie? with Owen Wilson, Idiocracy.
Oh,
The guy's sitting there watching TV, and they're just like smashing him in the balls, and there was a farting video, and it was just sex, farting, and smashing this dude in the balls, and that was all he was watching all day.
And to be fair, all those are hilarious. And I don't think that content will ever die. Will it get old? Maybe. But somebody's going to put a tuba up their butt and then make tuba fart videos. And that's going to be a new trend video. I'm not going to do it, but somebody will.
Someone will. So there's always somebody.
Yeah.
Wild. The fact that we went to that movie, because me and my kids were just talking about it the other day. Because we're like, everything's going to get so much better. Everything. I'm like, hold on. I can't guarantee you that everything's going to keep getting better.
Right. Yeah, eventually there will be a downfall.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms in and of itself, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get political. I don't want to get too political. But I can feel that happening because it goes there quick, man. It goes there real quick. All right, let's see. So what do you think it takes to get traction? You were talking about not talking too much, keeping your face off the thing, and that having a value on the algorithm. What do you think it takes to get traction? Is it just trolls? Is it just doing ASMR or whatever, the sensory videos?
Honestly, for me, my opinion alone, I don't have a guaranteed answer for that, because some of the videos that I've done are it's hard to explain, because the first video that I ever made over 1 million views with, my first video ever. And right now I went back through my catalog, and I think I have 7 videos that have over 1 million views, and I have it titled viral videos. My very first video with over 1 million views was no sound, no music, no nothing. It was literally just me pouring cat litter into a cat box and putting that cat box into a cabinet that is now our pantry or our washroom, our laundry room, because I wanted to redesign our entire laundry room, and I did that. It looks great, but just the fact that I had a box of cat litter, and then I just poured it into the cat box, and then once I got done, I put it into the cabinet and shut the cabinet door. That was it. No, no music, just the sound of cat litter. Um, and I don't know what made that video blow up. Sure, I use hashtags like cat litter, kitty, cat lovers, all that stuff. Um, so maybe just the fact of using relative hashtags or something like that will make a video blow up. Um, I don't think you want to make 3 minute, 4 minute, 2 minute long videos, because the shorter the video is, again, like you said with attention spans, the shorter a video is, say 15 seconds, and do something, whether it be edgy or do something that you think might catch people's attention, because it doesn't always do that. But if you do something like that, and I think the shorter the video, the better, because say you post a video and then people are like, what is he doing? And then the video stops and then it restarts again. That counts as an extra view. And so making
Oh, that's a good one. I like that, Chris. Getting
yeah,
someone to say, shit, I got to watch that one more time. Because that's happened to me. That's happened to me a couple
yep,
times. And it
yep.
counts. And that's a good, I like that, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
ingenious.
I think even if you were to make a video where you're talking mid sentence and then you cut it off purposely and then it restarts, people might get the idea of, what I just miss? So let me go ahead and rewatch that again. And I think that could be a creative way to make a video blow up, which will get more views and then have potentially more people look at your content. And if they like it, that's an extra follow. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. That's wild. Never heard that one before. It never even crossed my mind. And it's happened to me before where you're like, shit, I got
Yeah.
to watch this again. And
Yeah.
and you know not to watch it too many times because
Yeah.
you go to the bathroom, you put down your phone, and it just loops. You're like, oh man, now the whole algorithm
Yeah.
is going to be focused on some weird carrot farmer for
Yeah.
2 weeks. You're going to be stuck with carrots for a week.
Yeah, and then the one thing that I tried on my previous account, my personal page, I got the wild hair inclining to go ahead and just try this. I was like, I put together a video and I was like, hey, so TikTok now has this new feature where if you pause this video, swipe up and swipe back down to my video, it'll start right where you left off, knowing that didn't even happen at all. So I had people watching my video up to that point, pausing it, swiping up, and then swiping back down, and that got me a brand new view, which made that video climb up a little bit. So trying to do
And then
things
everybody
like
gets
that.
mad at you, and now they're commenting. So now you got a bunch of comments.
See, it's a full circle type thing to where it's like, how can I do something that will hopefully blow up? And it kind of does. But stupid stuff like that gets people's attention, and it kind of helps you out in the long run.
Super creative, man, and funny. I'm glad I asked that question because sometimes I don't even get through the list of ideas that are on here. But yeah, man, that's some funny stuff. I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
other things that I've done that I'm like, that's annoying. Or I seen one where the guy's like, if you try to touch in between the like and the share button, if you can get your hand in between those two buttons, there's a special whatever, and you get an extra. And obviously, it just makes you either like the button or follow because you can't get your hand in between the two buttons.
Yeah,
And
and the other one that I've seen, like the creators that really have no personality, but they're big creators. They're like, if you tap the screen 7 times, you'll get such and such. But realistically, you just tap it twice and you send a like. So now you blah, 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 blah. Realistically, you just send them a like, which helps them get even more. That helps the algorithm and stuff. It's like it's the stupid stuff that you don't know is stupid until you post it and you're like, oh, that's stupid, and then the next day you wake up, look at it, 40,000 views. It's like, well, I guess I should start doing more of that.
that's frustrating because that brings you down that rabbit hole where it just makes everybody dumber.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
and you capitalize on it and you don't have a choice because who wants the path of least resistance. Every animal on Earth does it. And I had no idea when AOL came out, it was ear, that
Yeah.
we would be coming down to 5-second videos with dumb bait click nonsense. I had no idea. I had no
Yeah, I
idea.
mean, and we should have seen it coming, because if we had to wait at least 10 to 15 seconds for that sound to go away for you to at least get on the internet, we should have kind of seen that, oh, our attention span is going to take us 15 to or 10 to 15 seconds for us to actually get something. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think the phone being able to get online is what
Yeah.
really exponentially grew the inevitable. If
Yeah.
everybody had to sit on their
Yeah.
computers to watch TikTok, TikTok would not have expanded. Instagram, Facebook, Tinder, none of it would have grown to the speed in which it's degraded itself and everything else. Because the original dating apps legitimately didn't have any algorithms. They were just trying to connect a male to a female or a female to a female, whatever it was that you were looking for. And there was no hidden agenda. There was no tier system. There was no monetizing it by. And once it got on the phones, man, that changed everything so fast.
Yeah, going back to that, I think whichever dating site made it to where you could swipe left or right whether you liked that person or not.
It was
I
another
think
game
that was
changer.
I think that was the true downfall of our attention spans. Because if you think about it, you know, uh,
Pretty ugly. Pretty ugly, ugly,
yeah.
ugly, ugly,
So,
ugly, pretty.
so you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
TikTok now. It's like I like it. I like it. Oh, whatever. I'll watch it. I like it. I like it. Oh, that's a stupid video. I like it. So I think really, whichever dating app invented the swipe left, swipe right, really has really has the whole.
They got to take responsibility for this nonsense.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll blame Tinder. Sure, 100%.
But again, it's inevitable. It's one of those things like if the guy that invented the wheel didn't invent the wheel, would we have a wheel?
I think we'd have a square. I
No,
think
no. We'd have a wheel. Do you know what I'm saying? No, everything that's been invented would have eventually been invented.
true. Yeah,
Inevitably. I mean, it's one of those Pandora's box where
Yeah.
this was all going to lead to this no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the invention of the stove or the oven, we never would have had a microwave. And thank God for microwaves and TV dinners. Yeah.
God, instant gratification. So, what do you think, man? Do you think the dopamine thing's going anywhere anytime soon, or is it just going to get worse?
I think it's going to get worse because there's eventually
How
probably
much worse? How much?
I don't know. I'd hate to get into the whole aspect of it, but you know how Google glasses or whatever, how they
That's where I was going to go. I was going to say the metaverse, and
Yep.
we're going to get trapped in a 24-hour TikTok.
I think it's gonna. I think
It's going to be like one of those horror sci-fi flicks where they're just shooting thousands of positive information to your eyeballs every second.
I think we're gonna get to a state like the movie Wall-E, where all of us are gonna be put in those. You've never seen Wall-E? No. Oh my God! It's a Disney Pixar that.
Yeah, the little robot thing, right? The little robot. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't see it though.
In that movie, there's we've gotten to our civilization has been away from Earth for 700 years, and we've just been in a spaceship. Well, gradually over time, humans have resulted into just sitting in floating chairs, and we have a TV right here, and we push a button, and then food comes to us. And I think it's going to get to that point, but I think that's going to be our low point. 100%.
Well, I don't know. Okay, well then we're gonna get philosophical if it gets down to that. We were built for an adventure.
We were, but look how many people don't go on adventures right now.
Oh, I know that,
Social media.
but that's the Pareto distribution. Everything's the square root of everything.
Okay.
There's only a square root of mega cities for all the cities that exist. There's only a square root of supernova stars for all the stars that exist. There's a square root of rich people for all the people that exist. There's a square root of music that makes it number one to all the music that's made. And then you can even square root that to the ones that like Taylor Swift or Elvis. It's just there's no way around it. And we've never been able to to manipulate that where it goes away.
Right. Yeah. At that point, I could see it getting
So the
even
majority
worse
of us
than
were
what it
supposed to be
is.
lazy. The majority of us are supposed to be the squirrel that runs up the broken tree to get to the top of the other tree faster. The majority
Right.
of us were not going to be the alpha male. The majority of us were not going to be the top dog. The majority of us weren't going to be billionaires, no
Right.
matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So but still, nonetheless, we were built for adventure. That's why we like the guys that win the football games. That's why we like the guys that can put that gigantic stone on top of that last freaking tower that's
Right.
4 inches higher than he should be able to put it. And you can see
Yeah.
his back bending, and you're like, how the hell did he do it? And
Yeah.
we want to see the guy climb the cliff without any rigs
Right.
and do it
We want to
correctly
see
and do
that.
it faster than everybody else.
We want to see that, but the majority of us don't want to do it because we know the consequences that could happen if something bad happens. And it's like,
Would
you
we
know,
lose that? Would we lose all that though if we're all just sitting in the metaverse?
true.
I
True.
don't know.
And
I think we would roll. I think we would revolt. I think we'd be good for a year or two, and then there would just be a massive crash. We weren't
I got you.
designed. Do you know what I mean? We
Right.
were designed for that struggle. The best part of whatever you do for a living is not being good at it first. Once you're really, really good at it, then the best part of being really, really good at it is how much money can I make and how fast can I do it.
Yeah.
And then once you max out those two things, it's kind of boring.
Yeah. I mean, because look at LeBron right now. He just looks like he's not having fun at all whatsoever. It looks like he doesn't have his heart into it. He has all of his money. He knows he's the best player, which no. But now he's resorted into how can I be an actor? How can I really make this foul look good? And he's portraying himself to be such a victim that it's getting to the point where it's like, oh, okay, well, he's gonna have a tantrum on the floor like a 2-year-old because he got grazed on his head and he didn't get his way. Something like that is just absolutely pathetic,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Well, on that note, that becomes a character issue and everything, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing all this go the way it's going is characters going down and dopamine's going up, and
Yep.
there's no. But again, I think there's a limit. We were built for a challenge. We were built to see if we can make music. We were built to see if we could be LeBron James. We were built to see if we could scale that mountain. And I don't know. Can you imagine if the robots are making all the content and we're just sitting there? Yeah, I can't. I couldn't imagine that lasting very long. How many kitten videos can you give the ladies before they just reject it?
Oh no, that's the thing because there's new kitten lovers born every second, and it. I think there's going to be if it gets to that point, and us as a humanity has pretty much seen everything that there is to see. I don't think the AI, if it gets to that point, will eventually be able to come up with new stuff because we've seen everything. And I think it's realistically up to us. Somebody that's born today will make something that we've never seen, X amount of years down the road. And I think the whole human aspect of that is what will make it to where it'll still be, and I use better vaguely because some of the content some people make, I don't know. But when it comes down to it, I think it still takes a human and a human brain to come up with something that another human will enjoy and love to watch. Because, as smart as AI is, driving Teslas and all this other stuff, there's still room for, something to screw up with AI, even as advanced as it is. So I think, we're going to get to a null period. But it just takes one person to make something that's really good and engaging.
And then everything else is obsolete, especially content. All it takes is one good idea to make everything else, what would you call it? Yeah, obsolete. It makes it obsolete immediately.
Yep. So, and I mean, with that whole thing, I don't think that AI is as smart as it thinks it is. Because if that was the case, how come? Sure, there's these new filters and these new apps where AI, you type in a word like, I don't know, Elon Musk uh, inside of a car, you know, and then that AI generates a picture of that, you know. Sure, it's smart on that aspect, and it's probably going to get better over time, but eventually it'll run out of things that can produce something that will be engaging, you know. And coming back, it will take a person, a human, whatever, to make something brand new that will have my attention, have your attention, have somebody else's attention. So
I agree. And they're genuine or telling the truth, whatever version of that. We trying to think of the word. We we strive for people to be honest. We really like when you're in a relationship. The number one thing someone wants from you is, can you be honest with me? And
yep.
when you're got an AI or people making content that's just clickbait and stuff, eventually the authenticity becomes
Not there.
yeah, it's not there anymore, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a lie. It's I don't want to call it a lie, but it's kind of in the flavor of a lie, I guess. And I think
Right.
it'll just be a turnoff. We wouldn't be able to handle that. But who
Yeah.
knows, man? I have no idea. And the self-driving cars, I'm wondering if there's 20 things we don't see with the self-driving cars that we didn't see with the cell phone. Like Tinder
Right.
and Instagram and all that stuff. We didn't see the swiping. We had no idea
No.
that's what the phone was going to bring. So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of unforeseen things with a self-driving car. I have no idea what the unforeseen. I'm trying to think ahead of what it looks like, but I just don't
I
know.
mean, all it's going to take is one really good hacker to go ahead and
Shut down the whole highway system from coast to coast. Yeah.
either
Right.
shut it down or hack into whatever type of, you know, firewall link that, say, Tesla has, and then have them control every single Tesla. That's why I'm never going to get an electric car. One, I can't afford it. Two, the power grid isn't there. And it's
Yeah. We ran out of electricity just trying to heat our homes.
yeah. And
So
2
you're gonna
years
plug
ago,
you're gonna plug 100 million cars.
yeah,
I think that's a
that's
huge. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give you my conspiracy theory on that. The goal is to make cars unaffordable on
I can
purpose.
see that. Yep.
Because right now you couldn't make 600 million batteries worth of cars
No.
to compensate for the 600 million cars that exist.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So now there's scarcity, and now you got to take an Uber whether you like it or not to go to work.
Yep.
I
And
think that's where the real goal is. I don't think it has anything to do with saving the planet. I don't think it has anything to do because you could put a self-driving car in a gas-driving car.
right.
All the electronics that are in the car, why can't you add one more electronic?
Yep.
And actuators to steer. You could do that to a gas-powered car, but they don't want to do that. And I'll be honest with you, right before COVID hit, China was gonna work with what was it, Chevy, I think, to make a $5,000 brand new car.
Well, that's the thing. You can
I
go
don't
on
think they
Amazon.
wanted that. I don't think they wanted the $100 TV at Walmart, and they didn't want a $5,000 brand new car in every driveway. I don't think they wanted that. Because
Well, you can go-
here's the deal. If every car that's new potentially could be a $5,000 car, how many years before you just give away a car?
Right.
I got
Yeah.
5 TVs in my house. I have 5 TVs in my house. You get a brand new TV at Walmart for $100.
I mean,
If you're at a
Oprah
tag
gave
sale,
away-
if you're at a yard sale, and you're like, dude, I don't know, maybe I want this couch from you. He's like, I got an extra TV. I'll give you a TV if you take the couch.
yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they're just,
Yep.
and I think that's why we have the inflation we have and the reason why they're trying to make cars scarce and other things that don't need to be scarce is they were about to be worthless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can only make so many TVs before the TV becomes worthless. And I think
Yeah.
we were on the verge of $20 TVs. I think 5 years ago was the tipping point where those $100 TVs now would have been 50, and then they would have been on sale every once in a while for $25.
Right.
Because you can only make TVs in a factory for so long before the factory paid for itself.
Yeah.
I
there's
think we
only
were
so
already
many
at that
houses-
point. Yeah.
There's only so many houses that can have a TV. You know.
Well, they
There's
break
only so many
occasionally. You
rooms.
make a new TV or you make a new phone. I mean, you do, but you can make more, and we were getting extremely hyper efficient at making stuff and producing food to the point where I think they were getting, I don't know. That's my conspiracy theory personally. I really think they didn't want. Well, that's another issue too. The more abundance there is, the more inequality there is. So if you look at communism and socialism, the first thing they do is they get rid of the abundance. That's the first thing they do. And that's how they make everybody equal. Everybody fights for the same 5 potatoes, and now everybody's equal.
Right.
If everybody's got Jordans and Jordans become useless, now there's an inequality. Now there's a billionaire and a poor person. But as long as there's no Nikes to be found, and it's like the Pareto distribution, they can't fix it. We've tried to fix it. There's no way to fix it. It's either abundance and everybody has inequality, or everybody fights over the same 5 potatoes. There's no. We've yet to come up with a conclusion to satisfy that problem. It's just I don't think we will. I don't know.
I mean, I think the whole COVID thing really screwed everything up, because how can you say we have a chip shortage when we were doing just fine before the whole thing? Because I think that was the main thing that screwed everything up. Between video game consoles and vehicles, the car dealerships are shut down for the most part because now there's not enough chips to make your car have GPS and air conditioning at the same time. So I think that kind of screwed things up too.
Well, none of it looks like it was an accident. It doesn't seem like any of that stuff was an accident, and not even one thing. And I guess you can go down that rabbit hole too. I don't know. I do like conspiracy theories because the what ifs are the coolest ones, because what you know for sure is already boring. Yep. In my opinion, at least. I don't know. But
and I like it when the what ifs have come true. So I like
they do. They come true way more than you think. But hands down, I don't think any of it was a mistake. And it seems like none of it was unpredictable either. Even the bank situation that's occurring right now, or the TikTok stuff, and the world stage, the way it's playing out. None of it seems like, oh my God, this is such a shock. I had no clue. Or, none of it feels that way either. I don't know.
Yeah, and when they say, TikTok has all this information and is tracking everything, you got a phone in your pocket that has your bank account because you have your bank app linked to your phone, Chase, Wells Fargo, whatever. Your phone is tracking your face. Yeah, it's got a camera. It's going to. You have face recognition to open your phone. You literally have all your information on your phone that's made from China.
I don't know if you know this, but what is it called? Tencent has an app that's called, what is it called? I don't know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but you can Google Tencent. They have an app that basically is all the apps in one. It's a text message, phone call, YouTube, bank. It's everything. Amazon, Hulu. It's everything all wrapped into one. And you say yes to all your information being sent to that one app. And the government in China knows everything. Literally, they have one app that rules them all. And it's this wild. It's absolutely wild. They've taken it to the next level on being able to control, and it's to the point where in China you've got like a credit score, but it's your citizen score. So you say something bad on Facebook I don't like, you did your job last week just like you did the week before, but instead of being paid $25 an hour, you're gonna get paid $15 an hour. So why don't you wake up and say something nice on Facebook before we get you down to $3 an hour? Right. And it's all on, and not only that, but when COVID hit, China had their app for buying stuff with your phone, and it was the QR code, and it was green, yellow, and red. If you had COVID and it was red, you couldn't buy anything, go home.
That sucks.
Wild stuff that China was doing. But you could see that this stuff has more ramifications. And this is not conspiracy stuff. This is what China did. So I don't know if that's in the pipeline for us, because we voluntarily give ours up right now. If you look at Facebook's terms of agreement, they basically know everything you did. Because 5 minutes after you look up an axe, there's an axe on the ad. So there's no way they don't know everything. They know everything. But we voluntarily give it up. So
I think the only way to get away from that is to just 100% cold turkey off of social media and no longer use an app for your bank. Yeah, I accidentally hit no audio for a second. So but But yeah, I think going back to it, the only way that we can really get off of everything is to get off of everything. But we're not going to, because we're so hardwired into wanting something now. So let's go to Amazon.com. Let's, order our food from uh, these delivery apps. And we've gotten so accustomed to having everything now and urgently and doing things now that I don't think we will ever be able to go back to how it was 10 years ago. Never. We're never going to be able to do that. We're so hardwired into how we do things now that we are going to be screwed if anything happens in the future. I don't want to have to go back to a paper map just to go to
Or
just to
use your credit
drive
card on
to-
that big heavy metal thing, ka-ching, and then
Yeah.
like 2 weeks later it gets to the bank.
Yeah, so I think this is how it's going to be until we inevitably destroy ourselves, and then it'll go back to how it used to be, but that's going to be decades from now, because technology is only going to get better until it fails itself.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things with the banks. I'm going to go back to, I don't think any of it was an accident. I think the fractional banking, I think allowing the small banks to get themselves out of control was designed that way on purpose. And they just waited for the outcome to occur. Because the best way for this to, like you said, get out of control to the point where you can't get away from your phone is right now I take a picture of a check and the check gets cashed. And I go to an ATM machine, I can pull the money out. I can go to a grocery store or Walmart and pull the money out. I don't have to go to a bank at all. So my question to you is, how long will those buildings last? They're completely irrelevant. When's the last time you stood in front of a teller and said, "Thank God you're here. I needed a teller so bad that I'm going to be here tomorrow to talk to a teller again"?
I think the last time I specifically went to a bank, maybe 2 years ago.
I was going to say, I'm not talking about an ATM machine or the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm talking about going inside the building and talking to a teller. The lady, the last time I did it was a year ago. She laughed at me. She said, "You could do that with the app." And I was like, "Yeah, but I thought it would be," and she literally talked herself out of a job because that building isn't even there anymore.
I think once the older generation dies out and
gone.
we become
The banks are gone.
who they are now. Same with news stations, same with the newspaper.
Same thing with TV. TV is dead. Cable television, buying
Who
a
reads the newspaper? Who reads the newspaper? My grandfather, when he sits down and drinks his coffee, we get socially all of our news from our phones. That's it. And imagine the amount of, just hear me out, the amount of trees we would save if they were no longer printing newspapers, filling stores and everything else. And once that other generation dies out, the older generation dies out, I think that the Weather Channel will go away because we have our phone. Everything's going to go away because they will no longer make money, because they're no longer making money from the people that used to use it. They will cease to exist. Just like Blockbuster, they went out of business because we all now have Netflix and streaming services.
Yeah. There was the transition with Redbox for a couple of years, but yeah, I went straight to streaming.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's going to be that cycle from now on with everything that used to have to be a building.
Yeah, again, the unforeseen ramifications of the technology. We saw the phone as this, and this, but did you see it wiping out TV as we know it?
Not necessarily.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it just destroyed Redbox overnight and Blockbuster. You got to blame the phone. Because number one, even if I do watch it on my TV, I either cast it from my phone or I use my phone as the remote.
And that's the other thing. I don't really know anybody that pays for cable anymore.
No one under 60.
Yeah, me and my wife, we have
Hulu,
Netflix,
HBO,
Hulu, Amazon Prime. We have HBO Plus, whatever it is. We have all these streaming services, which, all combined, do cost more than a cable subscription. But cable doesn't have everything that these other subscription services have.
Well, do you remember 10 years ago, or do you go to your grandparents' house and you're looking at it? And I remember clearly, if you were bored on a Saturday or you're sick and you were just chilling, you put it on one of three channels. And that's all you used out of all the 300 channels they had was the three channels you liked. Spike TV or whatever it was at the time, Comedy Central. And you watched that until it looped. And then you went to the next channel. Because every 6 hours, it basically just rewinded and went right back to the same crap you started watching when you first woke up and got on the couch because you were sick.
Right.
So why would you pay $75 for three channels that loop every 6 hours?
Yep.
Whereas at least I'm getting on demand what I want from HBO right now. I'm getting it right now. I think that's one of the
things that cable kind of never progressed to was just like you said, you're gonna watch X amount of channels for sure. So why am I paying for 152 different TV program channels when I'm only going to be watching X amount? I think that cable back in the day, if they would have went to the whole position of, I got kids. I know I'm for a fact going to watch Nickelodeon, MTV, Spike TV, whatever. I'm going to watch guaranteed 5 channels, and those are the only channels I want. I don't know why the cable company didn't do any type
$3.99 per channel or $4.99 per channel, up to 10 channels, and then we'll renegotiate at 20 channels or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that would have just kicked the can down the road. The phone would have still won. Netflix would have still won. Hulu would have still won. But I want to go back. Okay, go back to the paper. That's another thing of abundance that we don't realize either. Is okay. So when what was it called? Blockbuster. When Blockbuster first came out, it was all VHS tapes.
Yep.
And you go to Walmart and you're like, man, I'm going to spend $30 and buy this movie. And it was a big plastic tape inside a big plastic box, inside a big cardboard box, wrapped in clear plastic.
Yeah.
And you paid $30. Now we pay $15. I buy it on Google Play. It has no box inside a box inside a box. With plastic, wrapped in plastic, all that's gone.
Yeah.
Why? Where's all the money difference? You got to ship 2 million of those around Texas. All these boxes inside of boxes.
Right.
That must have costed trillions of dollars. All that's gone now, and I get that movie within a second of touching it on my phone, and I got it forever, and I got an unlimited copy that follows me to the moon. Why isn't that movie like 75 cents?
I think mostly because, it costs X amount of money to make that movie and to pay everybody in order to make
but just to make that plastic, just to make the plastic for the tape must have cost them $100 million. Because they made 20 million of them. And then the plastic frame that got stuck into the VCR tape, that must have cost $1 million. And then the cardboard must have cost $1 million. And then the editing and the printing of making that cardboard, and then printing it 500 million times, and then putting a gloss on it so it don't wipe off right away. And then wrapping it in a clear plastic must have cost $1 million. And then you had to put 400 of them in a cardboard box, seal that cardboard box, and put it in a truck. And then you got to deliver that in a truck to another truck that delivers to a giant warehouse that disseminates it to all the Walmarts. That must have cost 90% of the income of what it cost to get that to my house.
Yeah.
It had to have. And now you eliminate all that. The guy that made it, the guy that edited it, the guy that put that little picture of what that movie looks like, and it's over. It's over. Everything else is done automatically.
Now you just push a button.
Yeah. So there's no way that movie should cost more than 75 cents. Right? Am I right? Come on now.
You're right. And I think it's mostly just, again, greedy Hollywood.
But again, I think we were getting to the point where everything was going to be almost free. And they didn't have any mechanism to stop it.
I see. Yeah.
They didn't have any mechanism to stop it. So the only way you can stop deflation is inflation.
Well, we're definitely having that.
What was their other recourse? They didn't want that much abundance. Did they really want you to have 7 cars that cost you $1,000 a piece because they're 2 years old? And can you imagine if your kids turn 16 and you gave them a used 2-year-old car that's got a 4-cylinder that costs $5,000, brand spanking new? Literally, you'd be giving it away when your kid was done with it because it was. True. Now you do that hundreds of millions of times, and how much are cars worth? And how do you stop people from doing what they want? Well, you know what I mean? Because it's not like there's not enough gas to go around.
No.
Every day it seems like we find a new reservoir of unlimited gasoline.
Yeah, imagine how that just works out.
And that's with us holding restraint on all the drilling on the shores and
Right.
restraint and poking holes when we do find it, or in Alaska, or there's spots where there's no limitation and they just poke hole after hole after hole after hole after hole, and it just never
Right.
ends. They're
Yep.
saying, what is it? Saudi Arabia pumps out what 200 million barrels a minute or whatever it is,
That's
and that's them. That's them under restraint because they don't want the price to fluctuate too much.
right.
And it's not like they're going to run out next year if they do 300 million a day.
Yeah.
And we found more last year or 5 years ago than we ever thought even existed.
Right.
So it's like an unlimited supply. It's not like gasoline is going anywhere. And we bottleneck it as much as we can by saying you can't make refineries. So all the refineries are 75 years old. So it's not like we didn't bottleneck it as best we could to slow the production as fast as we can.
I mean, realistically, who knows? We are probably behind the scenes. We're probably making and barreling as much as we want to just to stockpile it because we have the biggest military in the world. All those tanks and all those Hummers and everything take oil. So behind the scenes, there probably are really no restrictions. What's going on here?
Oh, you died.
All right. So
Yeah. I think on that one, that was your fault.
Yeah, that was. I had an incoming call and I thought I hit end, but I guess I accepted it. So yeah, that was on me. So back to what I was saying though is behind the scenes. Realistically, I think we are drilling and stockpiling as much oil as we want every single day, and we're just throwing. Oh, we're only doing 200 million barrels X amount of time, but because oil is what makes literally everything, rubber, plastic. We use oil for all of that, weaponry. So I think that we're only the government saying, oh, we only have this much oil, but realistically, no, we're making as much oil as we want. We're just not telling anybody because we're going to have to use it for everything, no matter what. When we eventually
solar panels can't melt steel into a car.
Yeah, so whenever we eventually do run out of oil in our children's great children's lifetime, then we'll be screwed.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I don't even think it's going to be that. The second most abundant liquid on the planet is oil.
Right.
Yeah.
Minus water, because water.
Yeah, water. Water's the only thing more abundant than oil.
Which I still don't understand why we haven't
tapped into that. You can get hydrogen out of water. So
yeah,
or some kind of steam. I bet you there's a steam version of some kind of motor that's more efficient than anything we're doing now.
I mean, the steam locomotives.
Yeah, well, but I'm saying there's got to be a variant of that, a smaller, condensed version of that, or something, some nuance of that original idea that's superior to everything we have now. There's got to be. There's got to be.
Like the whole conspiracy theory back in the 70s or whatever.
The guy with the water.
He made the functioning vehicle run on water, and then poof, he died.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. Again, we can't just do that because the oil companies will lose so much money, and that's the whole thing that it is.
Okay, now I'm with you on the fact that someone may have invented something like that because I've seen that guy and it's really cool and it looks authentic.
Right.
In theory. But the answer to why it happened doesn't make any sense to me. And this is why I say this, because I never understood if you get a carburetor that runs 600 miles to the gallon or whatever, the first car that only needs 3 gallons a month is going to be the car company that takes everybody out of business immediately and becomes the richest company on earth. So I don't understand why wouldn't Honda or Ford or whoever want to be the richest company on earth. I don't understand that logic.
I think
Because
because
I'd be the first one to say, I got the best carburetor, buy my car, and you'll never have to buy gasoline again. I'm going to sell every car I sell. Before
I
anybody else can
think
sell another car, I'm the richest man alive. I'm on the cover of every magazine that no one buys. And I'm going to get
right.
all the podcasts that everybody wants. Why wouldn't you want to be that guy?
I think because if it gets to that route, you won't have any backing or anything from those big oil brands and everything else that supports it, because now you are still going back into the whole cutting into their profits, because you
Uh,
only need 3 miles per or three
Whatever. Yeah,
gallons
you know
per
what I'm
month.
saying. You know what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
understand what I'm
you only
saying.
need
So now
you
you're not
only
even
need
got a big tank because you don't need a big tank. So you weigh less, so you can even go further. But again, 80% of the oil we burn
right.
is in jets. It's in your house to keep your light bulbs working. It's it's in it's burning the steel to melt it into a alloy that you're
Mm.
never going to get from a windmill or a solar panel.
Yep.
That's where 80% of the oil really goes. It's to
Right.
making plastic. It's in the factories. It's in the gigantic turbine that makes my town run. It's not in the cars. The cars are only like 20-25% of the
Right.
overall oil. That's why they've been away. That's the reason why they can get away with not making new refineries. Is even with all the new cars we have, we only need so much gas a day. It pales in comparison to other oil we use. We use it for
Right.
everything. We use it for everything. And those jets, they burn through oil so quick. It's insane. How they could
It,
justify saying you need to stop using your car when these rich guys are flying around in planes, gas guzzling, and their
yeah.
boats are gas guzzlers. These
And it's
boats,
crazy too, because when we go to paint a plane, a lot of times we'll defuel the plane. Depending on the size, like a 777, it takes over 2 hours just to defuel. Have all the fuel come out. It takes over 2 hours just to defuel a plane, and that's that's massive amounts of fuel.
and
And
it's not
it's
cheap either. That's more refined than the stuff we're putting in our cars.
I think it costs to refuel once we paint the plane and to refuel it. The refueling cost I think is somewhere around $20,000 just to refuel it.
So,
And
so if you think the cars are the number one problem we have in this world, it's not even a logical argument in the reality of the scheme of what we do. If you want to save the planet, you want to get rid of the oil and get rid of the cell phones and the TVs.
there's that, but they never will, because the government wants to control us with both of those things.
Exactly. So
I mean, if you really want to save the planet, why don't you make a fully battery powered, solar powered plane? Hear me out. We can already curve solar panels, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
And
anything
and
they want.
planes are up in the sky above the clouds where the sun is directly on you. Sure, it might eliminate red eye flights, but hear me out. You put, instead of fuel along the wings, because that's where the fuel goes, put batteries in the wings. It's going to weigh relatively the same amount because of liquid. And then the entire plane, a 777 is massive. It has so much square footage on top of the entire plane. Put solar panels on top of the wings and on top of the plane. While it's sitting at the airport in the sun, it's recharging. You want to get rid of emissions and O2 and CO2, whatever. Make planes more efficient by just putting them in a full electric mode. If you can make a Tesla, make a plane.
Teslas barely do it. I think it's the pounds of thrust per gallon can't be matched by any other technology on the planet.
Yeah, you're right.
And
I
I
saw
think
this
that's why
video.
they don't. It's a joke. The oil is not expensive. I mean, it's expensive when you put it in a plane and you put it in a boat, but it just there's nothing going to replace it. There's
Right.
nothing. There's nothing going to replace it. There's nothing unless you start like taking some kind of like maglev technology and shooting a what do you call it? A paraglider, and then gliding to your destination.
Yeah, that's going to be a super small paraglider that you can't fit
I
400 people into
I
a
don't know.
paraglider.
Outside of that, I don't see anything replacing the pounds of thrust you're getting per gallon
Right.
on the fuel.
Right. What
I don't.
they just need to invent a safe economic
Well,
teleporter.
here's one that I don't understand, and I can't figure out, and I can't draw a proper conclusion on. Why don't we have a maglev train station from San Antonio to Vegas, and from Vegas to LA, and from LA to whatever that city, Helena, Montana, and from Helena, Montana, Pittsburgh, and from Pittsburgh to DC? Why don't we have those?
I
Other
think
countries have them.
I
They're
think due to the
super
fact
efficient.
I think if we're going to go that route, if anything, we're going to do what Elon Musk is doing right now and doing the
Yeah.
boring company and
Okay.
doing an underground complete straight shot tunnel system. And I think that would be the route that we go because one, if we build everything above ground, we're going to have to make it to where it either goes left, goes right, because things will get in the way. But if we make a straight shot, a straight tunnel system that we can go from LA to New York, and yeah, it's still going to take a little while, but if it's a straight shot, because Tesla or Elon Musk was doing that, he put one of his cars in this tunnel system, and it just goes straight. There's no stops, no nothing. Imagine, taking a car ride straight shot to one place. You're not going to have to stop for anything. And if it's on a magnetic system, kind of like those hyper speed rails
Yeah,
that
they go
China
quick,
has.
man. They go quick. It's an
Yeah,
airplane. It's an airplane on the ground.
yeah. Put that to where again you're not going to make any turns, so you can literally have a straight shot and make it to where for if you want to go from the north to the south, make that one shot and make stations to where it's going to be one massive grid under the entire United States where you can stop at each grid section if you want to go up the west coast, whatever. I think that will be the height of efficient transportation for the United States. It's just going to cost money.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh
biggest
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And actually, I can see a ton of benefits on that. Besides the fact that you don't have to turn and you can go as far as you want, is if we ever had a problem where China or Russia were giving us some trouble, we wouldn't have to worry about EMT issues to
Exactly.
stifling our transportation. Once you're underground, it's a wrap. Anything you
Yep.
blow up in the air is not going to affect any electronics underground. Um,
Yep.
it doesn't have a weathering issue. It doesn't have any of those. So yeah, there's an unlimited. But yeah, that's got to be super expensive. Super expensive.
Yep.
Just think about those stupid tunnels we do in like New York and stuff.
Yeah.
Those things cost. They cost
Because
insane.
you couldn't just go 5 feet below ground. You would have to make this thing go exponentially deep because water lines, utility lines that are
And you
all
don't want
buried
them to be a
underground.
problem later because you don't even know what's going to happen later. We don't know what the next technology looks like. Maybe
Yep.
all of our oil pipes will be 10 feet underground. Maybe all of our electricity will be 20. We don't know. So you
Yep.
want it to be far enough down where we don't have to deal with this later.
Yep.
Especially when
So
you
it,
invest money. Once you invest that kind of money, you want to do it once and forget it.
yep. That's all stuff for people that are way smarter than me that make way more money than I do. That's for them to make those decisions, and it's
To
gonna
be honest
suck.
with you, I don't know if you know this, but they're talking about going the opposite direction, where everybody is within a 15-minute city and no one's allowed to leave their house past 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's stupid. I mean, I can see that totally being a martial law type thing because
The idea originated with that stupid wall in Saudi Arabia or
yeah,
Qatar,
yeah.
where you can
I
have a
don't think
self-contained city where no one has to go more than 15 minutes from their house. Well,
right.
they want to institute that in the Western world, where you're basically quarantined to your quadrant for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I don't see that working out very well at all because there's going to be uprising
Well,
and
here's the deal. How would you know there's an uprising 40 miles from you? You can't leave. And social
you
media
can't
is
leave.
told what you want to
Yeah,
hear. So there could
right.
be 25 uprisings, and you wouldn't even know it, so you couldn't even join in.
That's true.
They would just
The only
block
way,
all the information on social media, and you would think it was all butterflies and unicorns, while everything was on fire 20 minutes from you.
the only way that you could possibly get away with or to find out is if somebody broke into a wall
Yeah, but
and leaked out. I think that would be the easiest way to figure that out.
China's proved that they can stop anybody from anything, man. And what
Yeah.
happens is half the people capitulate. We saw it a couple years ago. Half the people pretty much said, "Okay, I'll do whatever I'm told, regardless of what the circumstances are. I don't care
Yeah.
if the science changes every day. That doesn't matter. Half of the people, and not only that, but it gets worse. Those half people would be happy to be the Gestapo for free and make sure you do what you're told.
Right.
And that's off the top of the cream. You just wipe that top of the cream right off the top of the half the population will do what they're told, regardless of what it is. If you say
Yeah.
this doesn't make sense, you got to do it anyways. They'll raise their hand and volunteer immediately. Anybody want to make your neighbor do it? They'd all raise their hand again.
Yep.
Half. So
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't be that hard at all, actually.
No, I mean, because it just shows again with COVID, it wasn't that hard to segregate, or not to segregate, but to divide the entire country. It wasn't that hard. All it needed was, this cough is deadly. Oh, I got to get it. No, it's not. It's fake. Divided the country.
Irrelevant. Yeah, it was irrelevant if it was fake or not. It was irrelevant. Yeah, it was absolutely irrelevant because they basically proved half will do what they're told no matter
Yep.
what. And
Yep.
we got a large population of young men that don't really leave their house. As of now, they just play video games, smoke weed,
Yep.
jerk off, rinse and
Yep.
repeat, rinse and repeat. So I
Yeah,
don't know,
so-
man. I think we're going to see the opposite of, because it sucks. It sucks, right? We got self-driving cars. Elon's shooting shit in outer space, and they're talking about like going around the moon for like 10 grand, and like
Right.
the world has so much potential, and it looks like
Yeah.
we're going to go the opposite direction on purpose.
If we just put all the money that we're putting into all these other things to leave Earth, if we just put that money into cleaning Earth, we'd be so much better off.
I don't think money fixes anything, man. Because you go to L.A. and they said we're gonna solve the homeless population,
Well, I mean,
and they dumped it. They dumped an insane amount of money. I think one of the reasons why Joe Biden got the job is so he could sign a piece of paper saying we're gonna dump more money on the problem. Because those cities were going bankrupt, and now we don't have to worry about them going bankrupt anymore. They were all going bankrupt, and now none of them are going bankrupt.
I think. Well,
Do you know what I'm saying? No, do you know what I'm saying?
If that's the case, then in that point, money did solve that problem for the time being, yeah, until they run out of all that money, and then they're going to be begging for more money, just like the banks and the car manufacturers, to solve the homeless issue. Realistically, instead of with the amount of land that is across the United States that is not being used at all. Think of how much land is in Texas. Not talking about, the farmers that have their 100,000 acres of land. I'm just saying with the amount of land that is in the United States, if you want to solve the homeless problem, what do the homeless people not have? Homes. That's why they're called homeless. If you were to go ahead and put X amount of dollars into
Just modular homes, like a single dude modular homes.
Yeah, make that. Then they will no longer be called homeless because they will have a home. They'll now be called jobless, but guess what? Give them a goddamn job. And I get it. A lot of them don't want jobs. And what I don't understand is if they're so bad off being homeless and everything else, what's the one thing that you can do to have a shelter over your head and have food and have free Medicare? Go commit a crime. Now you're arrested and sitting in jail, which you get 3 meals a day, you get Medicare, and you get TV, you get all this stuff.
Heating, air conditioning, hot water, you get everything, man.
Yeah, if I promise, if I ever become homeless and out on the streets,
Going to jail.
What's up, McDonald's?
Especially county
Give me all
jail.
your
County's
money.
not that bad.
Yeah, give me all your money, McDonald's. I'm getting some free food tonight. But yeah, I think if you really if it goes to that route of how do we fix the homeless issue, make a massive modular home system that instead of having the government pour millions of dollars into ads of, just $2 a day can help this, help that. How much money did you pay to make that ad? Put that money into a government assisted type thing and, set aside X amount of money to run these modular homes, and it just make massive one studio buildings,
Yeah. Well, the reality is the people making the decisions that are not doing the things that make obvious sense, they're all lawyers. So they're really, really, really smart. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
back to my original theory that none of this is an accident. Not
No.
one thing we're seeing is an accident. This is all, and I would go as far as to say, not only are they doing it on purpose, but before they implemented it, they said, what do we think is going to be the end result? And then try to capitalize on even that.
Yeah.
And prepare to fix the problems with problems that cause more problems. And like a chessboard, say, I think this is what will happen when we fix this problem incorrectly, and
Right.
capitalize on that too. I don't think any of it's a mistake. There's no way it's a mistake. Because number one, human nature is almost self-evident, right? 20% of the population, if you give them food stamps in a tent, are willing to live on the street.
Right.
Especially if you give them a free phone with Hulu for free.
You just need a charger. You just need to plug into a wall, go to Walmart.
And
sit in Walmart.
they solved all those problems. They solved the
Yep.
So if 20% of the population is willing to live down here, and you make it comfortable to live here, they're all going to choose to live there.
Yep.
So I don't think any of that's a mistake. I don't think any of it's by accident. It's not this weird, oh my God, they don't know what they're doing. They passed the bar exam.
Right.
Do you understand what it
They're
takes?
pretty smart.
Do you know what it takes to pass the bar exam? Number one, you got to pass the baby bar. You got to study for years to pass that. Then you got to study for years again, and then you translate that into a political career. Those ambitions were not accidental either.
When you can make millions of dollars per year.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, it's obviously intentional. So, and we have this weird capitalist, socialist mesh where poor people are capitalists and rich people are communists because the rich banks get a bailout, the rich car companies get a bailout, but I'm not going to get a bailout. And if I do,
No.
they just print more money and make my money more worthless. And
Yep.
they know damn well that I'm going to go to Walmart and buy a TV, so it goes back to the corporations anyways. So
Yeah, like thank you government for giving me this $600.
that went
during a whole
straight back to
lockdown
the
shutdown
corporations anyways. You could have just
Yeah.
skipped it and gave it to the corporations and just
period. Yeah.
mailed me a TV or something. So I don't know. I don't know. What I don't understand is this is what I don't understand. If you're on top of the richest country on earth, why not stay dominant? Why allow it to crumble? Do you know what I'm saying? Part I don't understand. If you're the top dog, why would you allow everybody else to get a leg on you?
Well, I think
I'm not letting you run first. I'm not letting you run first. I'm the fastest dude alive. I got the title. You ain't getting a 2-second head start. I'm winning again.
But see, here's the thing. What are we number one at? Because we're not number one in schooling.
Well,
We're not
we used
number
to.
one
We
in
used to.
healthcare.
But you understand what I mean.
We're number one in military.
Yes.
And so
That
that's
doesn't
where
last forever. That don't last forever.
it doesn't, because if we run out of the materials that we need to make those military things that we need, we're no longer number one. But the reason that I think we're number one in the military and not everything else is because we want to be the most feared country. Because if you mess with us, you're not going to like it, because nobody invades us. No, China, Russia, they're not coming into our country and trying to take over America. They want to take over the other countries that are meaningless and pointless, you know? So we're number one in trying to scare people and holding our ground. But when the stuff that really matters, like teaching and healthcare, we're not number one in those, because that doesn't make us money. If we really wanted to go invade somebody and take all their resources and money, that's how we can stay and continue to stay number one in that aspect.
Well, how's that work out though? When there's the element of humanity that we have to acknowledge: reciprocity. If I do you wrong, I do your neighbor wrong, and my neighbor wrong, and my other neighbor wrong, and then I need some help someday, how's that play out for me? I may have got ahead. I might have made a few bucks beating up that old man across the street.
Right.
I might have made a few bucks messing with your kids or whatever it be. My kids got more bikes. I got a few more bucks from the old man. But at the end of the day, when I need that old man to help me, or I need you to be there for me when they lie, whatever it be, reciprocity goes a long way. And how many bridges can we burn? How many small countries can we manipulate before one big one has 20 friends and we have none?
And I think that's why we're not going and messing up Russia, because of how big they are, and they're friends with China. So I think if we were to do that, sure, in the time being, we would win. We would hold our ground and we would dominate. But once we lose all the resources that we had in order to take over Russia, now we don't have those, and China still has their supply of everything that we no longer have. So we don't pick on the other big guy. We help the little guys that are being picked on by the little guys because we're not using all of our resources. They have some, and we'll use some of ours. But we kind of know our place. That's why we, again, don't attack China. We don't attack Russia because they're the same as us to an extent. We're still above them, but we're not at that level. If World War III ever comes around, yeah, we're screwed. We're screwed. There's a lot more countries that don't like us that are collaborating with bigger countries than countries that do like us that can collaborate with us to help. So
And most of the ones we have are followers, not leaders. So
yeah,
when a bully picks on somebody and they go and say, it looks like this side's gonna win, they could jump ship real quick, and you may not have as many people as you think.
yeah, yeah. Because if what's really, I mean, if we go to war, and sure, Ukraine's going to help us, but
Well, they're busy. They're busy.
yeah, what does a country like Ukraine have that we realistically don't have? We have everything they have plus more. Sure, a little bit's going to help, but their little bit isn't gonna benefit us the same way that we're going to benefit ourselves.
Well, I think we're lacking manpower more than anything else.
Right?
That's
Yeah,
probably our
that's a good
biggest.
point.
Yeah, because irrelevant of how great your airplane is, the first wave dies, and you're replacing it with some tier two guys that are nowhere near as good as the first ones. And now you're training brand new, fresh ones to be tier two, and those
Yeah,
guys know nothing. I
and
mean,
that's
same
one
thing with
thing that China
tanks.
has on us.
Those five guys in the tanker, I think maybe it's down to four now because of automation. But those four guys, they've been trained for years to do what they do.
Right?
You knock out that tank, you knocked out 20 years worth of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It becomes a huge problem. That's one of the reasons why Japan wasn't able to keep up. They sort of kamikaze and all the good guys, and now you got this dude that got 2 weeks of training. Go fight an American who shot
Yeah.
down 30 planes last year.
Right. Well, that's the other
It's a
thing too.
no-brainer. It's
That
a no-brainer. So you could have the superior technology, and if you don't have, and not only that, but these young guys that, I I always look at those that are less fortunate than me as someone I should take care of. So when I'm in the grocery store, I do not see this mindset. I've had another guy do this to me, and it was really cringy, and it really was off-putting to me. He said, I go in the grocery store, I see all these old and weak people, and I can just run through almost everybody in my town. And I'm like, dude, why would that even be the thought that goes through your mind? But here's my point, though. A lot of the young guys I see nowadays, it's like everybody's got asthma. And everybody's like 120 pounds. I saw a couple tough guys that were like 18 or 20. I was like, man, I could fucking annihilate three of you at once. I'll be huffing and puffing. And maybe one of you get lucky and break my jaw, but I'll fucking kill three of you before you get my jaw.
right.
And I'm not being mean. It's just these young guys aren't. Where the hell did the men go? I was the smallest dude in my family. I'm 200 pounds, 6 feet tall, and I will fucking run through half these young dudes. At 45 years old.
I think a lot of them are working at Target. You know.
That doesn't explain all of it, man. Because, well, there's my point, okay? So now the military, my buddy, he was in the Marines 15, 20 years ago. They had a card. I'm offended by what you said to me when you screamed in my face. And you give them a card. The fucking Marines, man. The United States Marine Corps had a I'm offended card. And then shut down shop. And you have to, so that was 15, 20 years ago. And I don't think the stock that's in there right now is top-notch dudes.
Now, if you're offended by words, you're screwed in
How are you
general.
going to jump over that hole and blow up that wire? I mean, I don't think we're dealing with the same kind of guys that took over Normandy at all.
Right. Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Not even close.
yeah. So, do you really think when the first wave of planes get shot down and the first wave of tanks get shot down, that those guys are really going to stand their ground?
The only way to do it would be to send those guys first, have them get shot down, and then have the other country be like, okay, we got this scot free. And then the guys that have been 10, 15 years, we come up next. And it's like we surprise the shit out of them. I think that would be a good tactic right there. Let's send all the male baristas and all the male cashiers. Let's send them first, and then everybody else can just come right behind them.
It's exhausting. Like I said, I smile at the younger, older women. I let them go first. I try to be as polite as I can, because there's got to be some respect for what got here before us. You know, I look at the road, the main road. That thing's over 100 years old. There's not a man alive today that made that road exist.
Right.
He put some effort in so that I could benefit from it. And half the lines that are rolling out behind my house that run all this power, those lines are not 5 years old. Those lines have been on the telephone pole for quite a while. The vast majority of those men are retired or dead. So they did me a huge favor looking ahead. And so I want to at least tip the hat and say thank you for most of our infrastructure is way older than we are.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And it's not getting any better.
No. Well, my point is, though, you got to have respect for what's came before you, and you should never look at a population around you and say, I could just take you out. But I'm not gonna lie, after he talked to me like that, I did catch myself a couple times saying, holy shit, I could run through the entire grocery store right now, and there's no one that's gonna stop me, including every young guy working here.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When the COVID hit my little town, the first day, I guess there was an issue. So the chief of police said, "I'm not coming to 911 calls that people aren't wearing masks." So me and my kids never wore a mask. My kids never wore a mask in Walmart. Now HEB freaked out the first day, and they said, "Sir, with all the kids, we need you to come back to the front of the building and get a mask." And we never did. We just walked through, and everybody just looked at us like we were aliens. And we just walked through, grabbed their food. No one stopped me. No one had the balls to stop me. I bought my food.
I think that's funny too, because once once the government was like, you got to wear a mask, and we weren't wearing masks, and we were looking at people that were wearing the mask like, what are you doing? You know that this is all fake, right? And then when it came to everybody has to wear a mask and people put on masks, and then when me and a couple other people started to finally take off the masks, and we were walking through stores, just like you said, people were looking at me like, what are you doing? You got to wear the sheet protection, And it's like, no, it's the same shit as the flu. They literally said, it's got the same conditions as the flu, except one other thing. I'm sorry, that's the flu plus. That's Apple.
Well, the transmission was equivalent. Sneezing in my face is a bad idea. So here's my question. We solved the flu 3,000 years ago with face masks, and we never did it?
Yeah, that's...
You got to tell me that again. You got to say that with a straight face and look me in the eyes before I freaking rearrange your facial expression. That never happened. Yeah. We did not cure the flu 3,000 years ago. That didn't happen. No one believes that. It's just the population is getting very submissive, and masculinity is getting very, very
weak.
Weak, man, at best. Had a young man go to Six Flags with us yesterday, and he didn't make it, man. He only a couple hours, and he was done, man. 14 years old. Done. 75 degrees. 75 degrees. It was a wrap. This cat was done. My son, he's 6. He was done. And my daughter's 20, and she has a boyfriend, and he was there 2 years ago, and I don't think he made it through Six Flags either. So there's a whole generation between 20 and 6 that they're going to have a rough time if they had to stay outside for the day.
Yeah. I mean,
I used to do roofing. You spend 18 hours on that roof because who the hell wanted to tarp it twice?
Right.
You had to rip the roof, you had to prep the roof, and you had to re-roof the roof. the sooner you got done, the less times you had to put the tarp on.
Right.
There's no way those three young men could have kept up with me at 25. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
3 hours.
I mean, don't get me
3
wrong.
hours.
I enjoy a good nap, but that's later on throughout the day, you know?
Yeah, I'm 45, and I'll be honest with you. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand. I just don't understand. And not only that, but they did a study. Like 10% of the youth, if they were in the end of the world scenario, would just die. Because if they had to choose between eating a snake or not eating a snake, they just wouldn't eat it. They would just die. I'm not even kidding. They would starve to death. Yeah, they would just starve to death. So how the heck, how do you solve that? Because I don't know. Because when I'm 10 years from now, when all the older guys are done, and I want to actually relax and chill, you're not going to be able to. I mean, this generation right now that's a little bit older than me doesn't want to retire because they know what. I don't know. We definitely went down that political rabbit hole. I was planning on not doing it, and we went way more hours than I expected. Chris, this was an awesome conversation, bro.
Yeah, hey, you got some extra content out of this, and that's always a plus for sure.
Yeah, we doubled what I want to do.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me on and, talking my ear off. I definitely appreciated it. And, it was definitely enjoyable. And now I got something to tell my wife.
Go ahead, plug away all your stuff, man, so everybody knows where to find you.
Like we talked about earlier, my main thing is TikTok. It's just Texas Woodcraft. It's all one word, no spaces, because that's how TikTok is. My Instagram, I think I have under 600 followers. My TikTok's got like 146,000. My Instagram, same thing, Texas Woodcraft. And those are the two main things. I don't have YouTube. I don't have anything else, mostly, again, because I don't have time.
Yeah.
But I'm still plugging away, and I don't know. I might start a YouTube and then just take all my videos, take the watermark off, and post them up there. I might do that because I got, like I said, 1,600 views. That could probably do a nice little YouTube career. I don't know.
Well, YouTube pays, man, and they're getting smaller and smaller. 10 and 15-minute videos are becoming really popular.
Really?
Yeah. So going down to 5 is probably going to be their next thing. They got shorts. They got shorts anyway, so they got TikTok shorts, just like. Yeah, YouTube does it. They all do it now.
Maybe I'll do something there. I don't know, but that'll be in the future. But yeah, just so far, TikTok and Instagram, those are my main bread and butter, so to speak. So but thank you very much again for having me on the podcast. I appreciate that. And let's do it again down the road sometime, and maybe do like a straight conspiracy podcast. I would love that because I'm a huge conspiracy fan.
I do. I like conspiracies, man. It's fun to go down the rabbit hole.
100%, 100%. Because people don't think about it. Then you talk a little bit, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, 9/11 was an inside job because the truck's full of gold underneath that were found." 100%.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a whole other one.
Yep.
All right, Chris, for another time.
All right, definitely. Talk to you later.
All right, man.
See you later.
See you later.